Now at 9 o'clock, cracking down on immigration. The start of arguments for and against the president and the governor's aligning agendas will start in less than 2 hours.
States can really be an important part of this by stepping up to help fill the void.
We'll be ready for whatever fights we have to have.
What measures may or may not make it cross the finish line? And how much this week's meeting could cost taxpayers.
Plus, making good on sweeping campaign promises of mass deportation, the single-day record already set.
Plus, your first warning that it may be finally time to put those big old puffy coats away. Yeah, we're waking up to temperatures in the 40s, 50s. I spy some 60s. Let's check in with First Warning meteorologist Cam Tran.
Good morning. We are looking at a warm up this week. I'll let you know when we will see high temperatures climb into the 80s.
Local, live, late breaking. WESH 2 News Sunrise on CW18 starts now.
Good Monday morning to you. I'm Christina Watkins.
I'm Sonica Dange. I won't lie, I felt very targeted there when you talked about puffy jackets. I walked into work today wearing one.
See, I didn't have one. I left it.
It's because it's Florida. We shouldn't have one.
We shouldn't.
And soon we won't need one.
Yes.
All right. Happening right now in Polk County, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement is looking for this missing 6-year-old girl in Lakeland. Investigators say Empress Moore ran away from her home on New York Avenue in Lakeland around 8:30 yesterday night. When police officers brought her back home, she ran away again. Investigators say Empress was wearing a puffy blue jacket, blue leggings, and pink sparkly boots. If you know where she could be, call 911.
Another story we've been following overnight is from Tampa, where 3 police officers got hurt after a hit-and-run suspect ran from them. That suspect is now dead. It all started just before 8:30 last night on this busy interstate. This is video of what things looked like, where it all ended. Police first responded to calls about a man hitting 4 people with his car. One of those people died. Officers then chased the suspect and used a pit maneuver to stop him on the interstate. Police say the suspect appeared to reach for a weapon when he got out of his car, and that's when they shot and killed him. The officers hurt are expected to be okay.
Today, a special session begins in Florida.
There are several big topics up for discussion. One of them has to do with condo reform. The governor is calling for this as condo fees start to skyrocket. Regulations put in place after the 2021 deadly Surfside condos collapse put more of a financial strain on condo associations, and renters say that falls back on them.
Lawmakers will also consider adding restrictions to the ballot initiative process. This comes after Governor DeSantis led efforts to defeat ballot initiatives on abortion rights and recreational marijuana back in November. And another main focus will be a crackdown on illegal immigration.
WESH 2's Paola Tristan Arruda is outside the immigration office here in Orlando, walking us through some of the bills lawmakers will consider. WESH 2's Nancy Alvarez is in Tallahassee right now with the steps Florida could take as part of this immigration overhaul. She'll have live reports from this special session. In the meantime, you can watch all of our previous coverage online right now. Just go to WESH.com. Calling for a special session means taxpayers will have to pick up the tab.
And these meetings come with a hefty price tag. WESH 2's political reporter Greg Fox crunched the numbers. Between 2000 and 2022, legislative special sessions have cost more than $4.5 million. The per-day average is $50,000. When Governor DeSantis called a special session for May 21st in 2021, total cost for the 5 days, about $131,000. The average cost per day, about $51,000. Governor Rick Scott called the most expensive special session back in 2015. This lasted 20 days and cost taxpayers more than $650,000. And now, if you're wondering how exactly lawmakers are spending your money, check out Greg's full report on WESH.com. As part of President Donald Trump's mass deportation plan, thousands of people are now in custody.
Yeah, ICE reported almost 1,000 arrests of undocumented immigrants yesterday. This happened in Atlanta, Colorado, Chicago, Austin, and Los Angeles. There are also reports of arrests in Broward County down in Miami. Now, when it comes to the number of people in custody in Chicago, some are said to be violent criminals. But Illinois' governor says agents also went after people whose only crime was entering the United States illegally.
Look, I think if you're in the country illegally, it's not okay. It's not okay to violate laws of this country.
They're going after people who are law-abiding, who are holding down jobs, who have families here, who may have been here for a decade or 2 decades, and they're often our neighbors and our friends.
These ICE operations are expected to continue this week. All of this comes as a feud between our president and the president of Colombia could be coming to an end. Colombia says it will continue to welcome deportation flights from the United States. It's after the country first refused to accept 2 planes with deported immigrants. In response, both presidents ended up threatening hikes on tariffs against each other. The Trump administration also sent deportation flights to Mexico and Guatemala.
The U.S. Air Force says it will continue training with videos about the Tuskegee Airmen and women pilots in World War II. The videos temporarily removed from training pending review of their compliance with President Donald Trump's ban on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. The Air Force said yesterday both videos will be taught.
Today, we expect to learn more about the fugitive caught in Lake County. The FBI added him to their top 10 most wanted list in 2023. Donald Fields is originally from the St. Louis area. Law enforcement officers arrested him in Lady Lake this weekend during a regular traffic stop. The FBI says he's charged with child sex trafficking and child rape. This afternoon's news conference is set to start at 2 o'clock at the Lady Lake Police Department.
A fundraiser for a Brevard County mother and her 2 children killed in a fire is now up $15,000. The mother dying from her injuries just days after her 2 young children. The fire happened inside their home on Sunnybrook Lane Friday morning. Family members tell WESH the 32-year-old mother died at the hospital. They say she was a business owner and loved helping people in need. They say the 2 children, Zayla and Emmanuel, were vibrant souls. The mom's sister started a fundraiser to help cover medical and funeral costs. The state fire marshal is still looking into the cause.
Orlando City Council members will talk about a proposed expansion for the Coalition for the Homeless Men's Service Center. The coalition is looking to build a 6-story, 92,000 square foot facility. It'll serve women and children. It'll also have an administrative and a security building. The first reading is today during the City Council meeting, which starts at 2. All right, it is 9:08 on your Monday morning as the weather finally reaches normal temperatures for Central Florida. It is certainly the perfect week to get outside and go read a book.
I've been saying this all morning. Today, Orange County Public Schools is kicking off a huge initiative as part of Literacy Week. The goal here, read 20 million minutes collectively by April 30th. The school district is trying to get students, staff, and parents involved. Even the Orange County and Orlando mayors have agreed to participate. Literacy Week is a statewide effort to inspire the love of reading and writing and strengthening those skills for Florida students.
That's very cool. Get your books. At 9:09, class is in session at the Orlando Science Center.
The topic is 2 words that you probably weren't expecting: reptiles and food.
What?
We'll break down the science behind these scaly creatures while they give us a lesson on self-care through a balanced diet.
Interesting. Plus, it's in hundreds of foods. It's hard to not miss how to avoid this harmful red dye before the FDA officially bans it.
It's a synthetic dye that will no longer be allowed in food, beverages, and medicines. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration recently banned the use of red dye 3. But manufacturers have about 2 years to remove the dye from foods. Experts say you don't have to wait to take the substance out of your diet. Mandy Gaither talks to a dietitian about how to avoid red dye number 3 even before its total ban begins. You may want to plan accordingly after a warning from experts this morning. Egg prices not coming down anytime soon. The USDA estimates egg prices will actually increase about 20% this year. That is compared to about 2.2% for food prices in general. The average price of a dozen eggs, $4.15 last month. The high price is being driven by the ongoing bird flu outbreak in addition to inflation. The USDA says bird flu has killed over 17 million egg-laying hens in November and December. That's nearly half of all birds killed by the virus last year. A rising number of Americans are getting sick with the flu. The latest CDC data this month reports more than 6,600 flu deaths and 160,000 hospitalizations. While the flu is surging, COVID cases are down. Doctors say COVID strains, for the most part, have become less severe over time. And this year, COVID peaked most recently in August. The flu, however, always peaks in the winter, spreading more easily this season with the combination of lower flu vaccination rates, record travel, and a bitter cold winter season driving people indoors together. In California, there's now a new threat as much needed rain helps put out the Los Angeles wildfires. But with so much destroyed, officials are now concerned about flooding and possible mudslides. Crews in Southern California are desperately digging trenches to hold water. Much of that area is under a flood watch through this afternoon. And the National Weather Service is saying the threat is high enough to prepare for the worst case scenario.
There's nothing left holding the soil in place. So even one drop of rain will come down 7 times faster than it typically would have prior to this fire.
Firefighters battled 10 different blazes there over the last 2 weeks. At last check, all the flames are now over 90% contained. Closer to home in Volusia County, you can learn more on how to spend disaster recovery funds to hurricane-proof houses. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development approved the money after Hurricane Milton, and there are still 2 more meetings this week. One today at Deltona Regional Library, another is scheduled Wednesday at Daytona Beach Regional Library. Both meetings start at 5 p.m. All right, today SpaceX is gearing up to send another batch of Starlink satellites into orbit. The launch window opens at 3:22 this afternoon at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. This will be a mission for Starlink. If and when that rocket goes up, you can watch the live stream on our website, WESH.com. And with no rain in the forecast today, Cam, how are things looking for that launch?
Things are actually looking great for the launch. I'll give you the official launch forecast in a second, but I want to show you the 2 top weather stories that we're tracking today. We are looking at gradual warm up this week and also tracking some rain showers this upcoming weekend. Temperatures as you walk out the door this morning, 55 in DeLand, 53 in Leesburg. Good morning, Kissimmee. You're currently at 59 degrees. Later on this afternoon, we will see those high temperatures top out in the low 70s, which is actually quite average or seasonable for this time of year. 74 later today in the city. Beautiful. 73 in Poinciana will top out around 73 in Hunters Creek as well as Winter Park. Oviedo will see a high of 73 later today as well. 70 the high in Daytona Beach, 70 in New Smyrna Beach. Our first warning radar is showing dry conditions and will keep it that way for the rest of the day today. Waking up to mix of sun and clouds, and then we will see a bit more sunshine as we go throughout the afternoon. Then those clouds build back in again as we go through the evening, but again, staying dry. Now, from an official weather standpoint, a 95% chance that this launch will be a go. The only weather concern, a few cumulus clouds that may develop this afternoon. Launch window opens up at 3:22. Heading out to the theme parks today, it's going to be a sunny and cool start, pleasant sunshine by midday. We are looking at very comfortable conditions over the next several days and also a gradual warm up. We're also going to stay dry thanks to high pressure in control. So you can see really no rain on our futurecast at all. Then on Thursday, we transition those highs into the upper 70s, pushing around 80 degrees by the upcoming weekend on Saturday. Tomorrow morning, it's going to be another cool, refreshing start. Temperatures will be in the low 50s, pretty similar to today for the metro. Areas north and west will be in the low 40s, low to mid to upper 40s, excuse me. Highs tomorrow afternoon in the low 70s, upper 60s to low 70s for areas along the coast. And look at this, by Thursday, a high of 76 degrees, 79 the high on Friday. And then the upcoming weekend, we'll see a high of 80 degrees. Here's a look ahead at your Central Florida's certified most accurate forecast. Go outside and enjoy this weather. We couldn't do it last week because of the cold and rainy skies, but today through Friday, dry conditions. Saturday and Sunday, just a few rain showers in the forecast, not a washout by any means. Not expecting any thunderstorms at the moment, and it's still going to be fairly warm with highs in the upper 70s to low 80s both weekend days. I'll talk more about that weekend rain coming up in the 9:30 half hour, but for now, let's send it to break.
First Warning Weather on CW18 is sponsored by attorney Dan Newlin.
Just in from Polk County, Lakeland police say this 6-year-old girl has been found safe. A missing child alert had been issued this morning after Empress Moore ran away from home twice last night. But again, police now say she's been found and is okay. All right, this morning we are learning the science behind these reptiles called skinks. WESH 2's meteorologist Marquise Mita took a break from the Weather Center to bring us into their world and the science of what's on their menu. If you want to see what other cool stuff is happening at the Orlando Science Center, it is open every day from 10 to 5, except on Wednesdays. All right, the clock ticked all the way down and then reset for TikTok. What the president says his rights are when it comes to keeping or selling the popular app. Plus, a scam warning is out about an internet service provider. The checklist for Xfinity customers in Sumter County.
Local, live, late breaking. WESH 2 News Sunrise on CW18 starts now.
Thanks for staying with us on this Monday morning. I'm Christina Watkins.
I'm Sonica Dondre. Here's what we're following for you here at 9:29.
Deportation raids are ramping up. I'm Christopher Salas in Washington with a look at the immigration crackdown taking place across the country.
Plus, closer to home, voters will soon get a chance to have their voices heard. The county is holding special elections and candidates to read up on.
Plus, today is Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Remembering those lost and messages from survivors at Auschwitz. I'm Jay Gray. We'll have full details coming up.
But first at 9:30, today marks exactly 1 week since President Donald Trump took office. And this morning we are going over the many developments surrounding immigration,
including the trade war dying down between Colombia and the United States as the two went back and forth over deportation flights. Christopher Salas is joining us live this morning from our Washington bureau. Christopher, good morning. We know nearly 1,000 people were arrested in immigration raids just yesterday.
Sonica, Christina, good morning. That's exactly right. And the Trump administration says this is just the beginning. They're going to be pouring resources from the federal government and the military into these types of operations, as it has been the top priority in week one. And starting today, the Trump administration has officially paused the admission of refugees into the United States, even for some who had already been accepted, and they are now stranded wondering what's next. This program is not going to restart until President Trump decides when to resume refugee arrivals based on the criteria, and this is in the executive order, quote, that is in the interest of the United States. Christina, Sonica.
And Christopher, we know these immigration raids were described as unprecedented, at least for one reason. Why is that?
Yeah, Christina, so for the first time, we saw law enforcement agencies who don't handle immigration enforcement on hand for some of these raids doing immigration enforcement. And this comes after President Trump last week issued a directive expanding immigration enforcement powers to several agencies, such as ATF and the DEA. This is really a remarkable shift in strategy for federal law enforcement when handling this issue, but it's also causing concern among immigrant advocates regarding overreach. Back to you.
Something we have been following very closely and will continue to do so. Christopher, thank you for joining us live from Washington. All last week, WESH 2 did bring you the stories of those who could see impacts from the upcoming legislative session and the Central Florida organizations who advocate for migrant communities. You can find those stories right now on WESH.com. President Donald Trump may see his cabinet increase by 2 more this week, starting today. The confirmation vote for Trump's pick for Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is set for this evening. The Senate is also scheduled to vote for Sean Duffy's confirmation tomorrow. Duffy's nominated to serve as Transportation Secretary. Over the weekend, 2 more of Trump's cabinet were sworn in after being voted in by the Senate. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem.
At 9:33, today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. It is a day set aside to honor the millions of victims of the mass genocide which destroyed 1/3 of the Jewish population. It's also been 80 years of liberation of Auschwitz.
At least 1 million people, mostly Jews, were murdered there as the camp became a symbol of the Holocaust. NBC's Jay Gray reports from Auschwitz. Israel is letting people return to northern Gaza for the first time in over a year.
Yeah, tens of thousands of people started going back to their homes. This move ended up getting delayed 48 hours after some back and forth between Israel and Hamas over hostage releases. Many people in Gaza put out of their homes because of all the fighting and evacuation orders are now returning to destruction. Over the weekend, Hamas released 4 Israeli women soldiers in exchange for 200 Palestinian prisoners.
The ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon is not moving smoothly. More than 20 people were reportedly killed in southern Lebanon yesterday after a deadline for Israel to withdraw its forces from the country passed, and thousands of Lebanese citizens tried to go home, defying Israeli military orders. The recent ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hezbollah included the withdrawal of Israeli troops from Lebanon. Israel claims the terms of that ceasefire have not been fully enforced by the Lebanese state.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio threatened to place a very big bounty on Taliban leaders if they have more American detainees in Afghanistan. Rubio says the United States knows of at least 2 Americans in their custody. The Biden administration successfully negotiated the release of some Americans from Afghanistan, including 2 freed in a prisoner swap last week. The clock is still ticking on TikTok.
President Trump granted the social media site an extension to sell the popular app to an American buyer. On Saturday, the president dismissed reports the White House is in talks with Oracle about buying TikTok. Trump saying he has spoken to many people about the app. He went on to say he has the right to sell it or close it, depending on what he thinks is best for the country.
In Commitment 2025 this morning, Governor Ron DeSantis called for a special election after Brevard County Representative Debbie Mayfield resigned from her House District 32 seat. That takes effect in June. The order sets the special primary election for April 1st. The special general election is scheduled for June 10th. Now follow me here with these next seats. Mayfield is expected to run for Randy Fine's state Senate seat after he resigned to run for Mike Waltz's Congress seat. President Trump tapped Waltz to serve as national security advisor.
For voters in parts of Flagler, Lake, Marion, and Volusia counties, that special primary election to replace Mike Waltz is tomorrow. The special general election is set for April 1st, with early voting set to start March 22nd.
At 9:39, Sumter County deputies want to warn you about a scam going around where people are pretending to be Xfinity representatives. They say in one of these cases, scammers spoofed Xfinity's real customer service number and called people asking them to pay them in Target gift cards. But keep in mind, Xfinity will never do that. You can always verify by calling the company directly.
A reminder, if you are heading to Flagler County later tonight, FDOT will have nighttime closures on I-95 on the bridge over Moody Boulevard. 2 lanes will be closed from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. tomorrow. The maintenance will begin on the northbound lanes and then shift to the southbound lanes. They're telling drivers to expect delays.
We are celebrating Hunters Creek Middle School student Maya Beltran this morning for winning the Art in the Capitol contest. Way to go, Maya. This is a stunning painting, and it'll be displayed within the Florida's at our state capitol's second floor rotunda. It's beautiful. It'll represent Orange County Public Schools along with other work from districts across the state. Congrats, Maya.
Yeah, love the colors used in that artwork. All right, celebrations continue for some local stars set to shine even brighter. Different kind of arena.
Yeah, we're talking about NFL's biggest stage. Up next on Sunrise, the athletes representing Central Florida at this year's Super Bowl.
First Warning Weather on CW18 is sponsored by Advent Health. Time and temperature brought to you by attorney Dan Newlin.
The Super Bowl matchup is set. Look at all the fans who flocked to the streets of Philadelphia and Kansas City last night after their teams won the conference championships. What a sight to see. Both of those games were fantastic. One had a historic score and the other was very close. It was a nice weekend for them in Daytona, and looking ahead, it's going to be even nicer, Cam.
Yes, I'm so excited to share this week's forecast. I'm going to show you the 7-day right off the top to give you the good news on this back to work Monday. Look at this bright sunshine. We are dealing with cloudy skies right now, or mostly cloudy skies, but we'll see peaks of sun this afternoon. And we're also going to see a warm up. I think after weeks of bitter cold winter temperatures, this is actually going to be some welcoming news. And look at this. By Saturday, we are looking at a high of 80 degrees, but of course there's a little bit of a catch. It does come with some rain showers. Live look outside at Port Canaveral this morning. You can see mostly cloudy skies. This shot courtesy of our friends Rusty's at the port. We are waking up to a comfortable and pleasant start to the morning. Right now 59 in Titusville, 60 in Melbourne, 61 in Orlando. You might need a light jacket still, but you'll be shutting it by this afternoon. First warning radar showing dry conditions. Take a look at our 12-hour forecast. We are looking at a high of 74 this afternoon, a mix of sun and clouds, and we will be staying dry. Tomorrow morning, we're putting this weather pattern on repeat. So as you wake up for Tuesday morning, temperatures will be pretty similar to what we dealt with this morning. We'll drop down to the low 50s for Orlando on south and eastward. North and west of Orlando, though, We'll start off tomorrow morning mostly into the upper 40s. Highs tomorrow afternoon going to be pretty similar to today, mostly in the low 40s for areas inland, upper 60s to low 70s along the coast there. We are looking at low 70s inland, upper 60s and low 70s along the coast. Here's a look at high pressure and control. This is what's going to keep us quiet and dry through the end of the week. Hopefully you get a chance to go outside and soak in some of the sun and also quiet weather. Come Thursday, we start to see a gradual warm up, and by Friday, we are going to see highs in the upper 70s ahead of this next cold front. Now that cold front's not arriving into the weekend, and that's why I do have that 30% chance of rain both Saturday and Sunday. And before that front arrives, we're looking at a high of 80 degrees on Saturday. Now I will say the timing of the rain this weekend is still to be determined. Why? There's no model consistency and agreement on when that front that's going to bring us the rain will arrive. Let me show you an example. On the left-hand side of your screen is a European model. This model is saying, hey, we're going to see rain by Saturday afternoon at noon. While the GFS, the American model, is saying not so much. That cold front's going to be much slower. It's going to be dry Saturday. Then as we look ahead for Sunday, Europeans like the cold front down to where south, dry on Sunday, while the GFS is like, hold on, I'll move the front end right over you folks on Sunday. So you can see it's a tale of two stories here. We've got to watch the trends, and we'll get a fine-tuned forecast for you in the upcoming days. But I will say we're not expecting thunderstorms, and we're not expecting widespread rain. It's not going to be a washout of a weekend by any means. But just give me a heads up, we could see some rain this weekend. Still staying warm, though, behind that front. Here's a look again at your Central Florida's certified most accurate forecasts. I hope you get a chance to go outside and enjoy this nice weather and beautiful sunshine. Morning headlines coming up on the other side of the break.
Season 2 of The Recruit arrives Thursday, picking up right where Season 1 of the popular action series left off.
It's going to be wild. David Daniel has a preview from the stars themselves. Well, the Wayans brothers are coming back for a new take on a horror movie parody franchise.
We have a clip to jog your memory.
I'm in the house. Do you know where I am?
You're behind the couch. I can see your feet.
What? Oh.
Yes, that's right. The Scary Movie franchise is getting a reboot. The original movie had the biggest opening ever for an R-rated horror movie and for a black director when it opened back in 2000. The new Scary Movie will hit theaters next year on June 12th.
Love that.
Saturday Night Live is celebrating 50 seasons next month.
Yeah, the show certainly had its impact on comedy here in America, but it also had a very unique effect on music.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are so lucky tonight.
Carly, XCX,
Prince, LL Cool J, Public Enemy,
Bob Dylan.
Willie Nelson, Bad Bunny.
And the list goes on and on. All of this is the focus of a documentary airing over on WESH 2 tonight. It's called Ladies and Gentlemen, 50 Years of SNL Music.
Music plays a major part on that show, and most of the iconic sketches that people remember, be it King Tut or, anything Eddie Murphy's done.
James Brown's Celebrity Hot Tub.
The Lonely Island stuff, it's all music related. SNL is such a game changer.
This is going to take us all back. Ladies and gentlemen, 50 Years of SNL Music airs tonight at 8 o'clock over on WESH 2. Can't wait for that.
Thanks for joining us here at 9 o'clock.
We'll be back for your latest headlines on WESH 2 News at noon.
You're watching Central Florida's CW18.